You see, well, one end of this list at the very beginning there, it's pride, which is the covering up of shame. Down in verse 18 and 19, we get to the second part. What pride does when we want to be as God and not worship God is we have to then create idols. We have to create objects of our worship, right? If you're a car enthusiast, that's a real obvious idol here in America. It sits out there, you shine it and polish it, right? It becomes an idol. The TV can become an idol. Your home, your children can become idols. And so what happens in our society because of idolatry is we begin to look at those things that others have and the way that they have covered their shame, and then we envy it. We want it. I want that. That seems nice. They seem happy, happier than I. In verse 15, it said, "Woe to those who get people drunk so you can gaze upon their nakedness." That is a euphemism to say, woe to those who would get people drunk that you could take advantage of them sexually. Does that make sense? Now I want to show you something really wild, because what happens when pride takes its full form in human, and then idolatry comes in and replaces any creator or God, is you get this phenomena where we begin to blame everybody else for the fact that the thing we hoped would cover up our shame is not covering up our shame. We begin to blame others, don't we? Who do the Democrats blame? Republicans. Who do the Republicans blame? The Democrats. 3 years ago, we had an event in this pandemic where it became vaxxers versus anti-vaxxers. Go out and enjoy your life versus stay in and protect other people. And whenever the problem kept going, one side blamed the other side. We still do this. In fact, remember I said in here about the environment. In verse 17, it actually talks about environmental sin. When it says harming Lebanon, those are forests. Do you know what Lebanon is famous for? Cedars. Yeah, if you read the Psalms, it's all throughout the Psalms. The cedars of Lebanon are a sign of might and strength and longevity. I once made a joke about that at my old church, and it did not go well. I don't know if they didn't know what cedars were or if the joke was just not funny, but needless to say, I had one friend in the audience who heard it and got it, and he laughed. There was one soul laugh. See how that felt good to laugh with other people? It was just him. And then he laughed harder because he realized my joke fell flat, so flat. So when it says harming Lebanon, this is literally a call out of the sin, and then it says in killing animals, of harming the environment, destroying the environment, acting as if this planet doesn't matter, as if it isn't part of God's creation. So here's what's wild. Here's what I want to show you. So these verses are right next to each other. So in our country, it is considered a liberal theology to protect the environment and see harming the environment as a sin. That's something that the Democratic Party really pushes, more or less. More or less. I'm saying it is a generality. Whereas sex outside of marriage is a conservative issue, right? That's more of a moral conservative issue. And then that's kind of something that what we call the Republican Party would push on. The Bible looks at both things and says, no, they're both sin. They're both not the way it was designed to be. They're both evil. They're both trying to cover up shame. Every time evil shows up, we want to find a scapegoat. And every culture will idolize something and demonize something else. In American culture, we idolize the wealthy, the fit, and the beautiful, and talent. We demonize anybody who wishes to go against that concept. It's just what we do. So that's how we have chosen to be as a country, and as an individualistic country that puts the single person ahead of the whole, we can now sort of see, hopefully you see yourself in some of this language that's being said here.